Hi everyone and welcome to the Chrissy B Show, and we are the UK's only TV programme that's dedicated to your mental health, well-being and success. Now today we are taking a closer look at borderline personality disorder, a disorder that affects mood and the ability to interact with others. First off, we'll be hearing from our psychologist Dr Audrey Tang, who'll be explaining the disorder in a little bit more detail, as well as the potential treatments that are out there. Then we'll be hearing from today's real-life story guest, Misha Caesar, who was diagnosed with BPD at 18 years old. She tells us all about how she deals with the disorder and how starting a family has given her real hope and determination. We'll be seeing how the Chrissy B Show team got on when we visited the launch of Anna Kennedy Online album Building Bridges at the Hard Rock Cafe in London. Then we have our fitness expert Marc Dressen, who'll be going through some of the healthiest foods that very importantly make us feel good as well. Later, I'm also delighted to be featuring Autism Parent Empower as our good cause of the week. Then I'll be giving you my top tips on how you can look after your mental health. Now, many of us will have heard the term borderline, but what does it actually mean? Well, it was first proposed in the United States by psychoanalyst Adolf Stern in 1938, who described a group of patients who fit frankly neither into the psychotic nor into the psychoneurotic group as borderline, as he believed they bordered on so many other conditions. Around 1 in 20 people have BPD here in the UK, but due to the nature of the condition, it can be quite difficult to diagnose a lot of the time. Well, let's hear how some of you think about this condition. Quinn says the stigma of BPD and all personality disorders is horrendous, even with the psych community. Morgan asks, do I actually have feelings for you, or is it my BPD telling me I need to be in the centre of everyone's world? A novel. Aldira says, BPD isn't the easiest thing to live with, but I'm still smiling. Goodbye Stigma have an issue with the term. They say this is a borderline, just saying we need to get rid of this term in modern day psychiatry. RJ Wood says the best thing about BPD is being able to go from down in the dumps to on top of the world in 60 seconds flat. And BPD Orchids say, when things get too much for me, I write or draw, and sometimes it helps with how overwhelming it is. Well, here to help us understand more about borderline personality disorder is our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thank you, Chrissy. Thanks for having me.
So, borderline personality disorder, quite a complicated one.
It is, indeed.
What is it exactly?
It's one of those disorders that is very commonly misunderstood, and it has suffered, sadly, quite unfortunate portrayals in films. Characters such as Glenn Close's character in Fatal Attraction and Winona Ryder in Girl Interrupted. All of those have been portrayals of borderline personality, and it still isn't well understood. Rather unkindly, it was known, certainly when I was learning about it way back when I was doing my degree, it's the borderline between neurosis and psychosis. But the main way of describing it, which I have only found recently, and I think it's a really good way of putting it across, is that it is the psychological equivalent of third-degree burns. The person with borderline personality disorder is so emotionally fragile that they can have mood swings, they can be very impulsive, they can wake up feeling absolutely brilliant one minute and then the next minute completely turn. They have a very, again, fragile is the word, sense of self-worth. Mike Cooley wrote a theory on something called the looking glass self. And this is where if you go home and visit your parents, even at my age, I still turn into this stroppy teenager because that's how they see me, and I portray myself in their eyes. Now, for the borderline personality sufferer, they are like that the whole time, so their personality can also change depending on who they're with. This does make things such as parenting very, very difficult, and unfortunately, again, the positives of how well borderline personality sufferers can parent have been really overlooked, and I find that a real shame, because a lot of the research has just focused on how children growing up with borderline parents can be very insecure, very anxious, because they don't know when the parent's going to say they love them, they don't know when the parent's going to turn into and shout at them. There's no consistency. And the other thing about borderline personality is that as well as the low sense of self-worth, they are incredibly afraid of abandonment. That's the one biggest kind of driving force. And in many ways, the symptoms of that are actually what we tend to see as borderline. The idea that they can threaten suicide, they can push people away just because they're afraid that the other person will leave them instead. They can become quite aggressive, they can be very upset, they're very, very good at, it's almost mimicking these social nuances, but don't quite have the ability to process it and believe in it themselves. They also lack coping strategies, and this is something that is helped through therapy. The best form of therapy is something called DBT. It's an offshoot of cognitive behavioural. It's a new one, is it? Well, it's been around for quite some time, but it's gained popularity following its success for treating borderline personality. It's dialectical behavioural therapy. What dialectical means is just the opposites, which is very much borderline. Borderline people do tend to see things in opposites, that it's either very good or very bad. But with DBT, you're actually looking at acceptance of that disorder and acceptance of change as well, being able to manage it. And what that therapy does is it works on three different things. The first thing it works on is actually building up that sense of self-worth again, and being able to see that and feel that self-worth without someone else having to tell you that. So it's about recognising your own strengths, identifying them, saying what they are. Then the next
people even without the disorder have trouble doing that, don't they?
Well, that's the whole.
Everyone needs a bit of DBT.
Well, yes, that's the whole problem. In many ways, when it comes to the behaviours that seem to be the popular ones talked about with borderline personality, the frightening rows, the screaming tantrums, those sorts of things. Actually, when you put yourself in a horrible state where you think your partner's going to leave you or something like that, it makes you behave in quite desperate ways. But when you think about borderline, it's not actually anything that is definitely happening that is causing it. It is the disorder that is causing it. It's the mindset. So after you've worked on the strengths, the next thing you work out is the almost conventional CBT, challenging those negative thoughts. And then the last thing, which is something your show's really, really good at, is actually collaborating with the therapist and working to actually have a happy life and being able to develop coping strategies, understanding triggers, and being able to live again.
And so obviously it must be, again, we always discuss the family members because they go through so much sometimes. What's the best advice that you would have for them regarding this?
Learn about it. That's one thing. The problem with borderline is that often sufferers are highly intelligent socially. They are able to mimic the behaviours, and we may start attributing them with strengths that they don't actually have, because they may be very good at, say, helping a co-worker go through problems or being able to advise somebody else. It doesn't necessarily mean that they've got the ability to do that themselves. So it's understanding that we're not actually saying to them, look, you've told so-and-so to get over it, why can't you? Because they really can't. So that's one thing, to be very, very mindful of what the triggers are, because the trigger is what will send them into the I love you, I hate you, that complete opposite. Don't try and treat it yourself. It's one of those disorders that really does need to be treated by a professional. Watch things like impulsive spending habits, impulsive behaviours. The whole thing about personality disorders is that they cover behaviour, they cover thoughts, they cover impulse control, and they cover interpersonal relationships. So you'll see effects in at least two of those areas. So again, it's maybe about educating other people to be a bit mindful of that too. They may help by encouraging the borderline sufferer to keep a mood diary. That can be something. And of course, good nutrition, good exercise, try and get some sleep, usual things, very, very important.
Audrey, we're actually going to keep you with us, because after the break, we'll be talking to our real life story for today, and that's Misha Caesar, who was diagnosed with BPD at quite a young age, and she's going to be telling us what happened to her and how she manages it as well. And also we'll be seeing how the Chrissy B team got on when we visited the launch of charity album Building Bridges at the Hard Rock Cafe. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV program for all things related to mental health, well-being and success. So far today, we've been learning about borderline personality disorder, which can be very difficult to pin down. And here to share her experience with me is our real life story guest, Misha Caesar. Hello, Misha.
Hello.
And we still have the lovely Audrey Tang with us as well to give her feedback. So Misha, thank you so much for coming on to talk about this. I know it's your first time on TV. It's a little bit nerve-wracking, but you're here to talk about the condition and you know, tell viewers what it's like and also what you're doing to get past that. So can you tell us what your childhood was like growing up?
Well, I had quite a good childhood in respects with my mum, my sisters. My dad wasn't very... my dad wasn't a very nice person, so I kind of...
You got on with your mum?
Yeah, I got on with my mum, and she kind of got me through things, and she was the one that fought for me to get a diagnosis.
Right. But what was it that you were noticing about yourself that, you know, led to that? Or was it your mum that noticed?
I didn't really think any different, because obviously I've always been the same person and always been the same, so I didn't really see me as any different to anybody else. Until my mum kind of started pushing for me to get a diagnosis and making me go to the doctors, and then I started realising that actually I am different from everybody else.
So what was different? What did she notice that kind of prompted her to do that?
Well, my emotional, I don't really know how to express my emotions properly. I'll have a major event happen and I'll kind of block everything out, but then something little will happen and it'll just blow me.
Really?
Yeah, I'll get more emotionally unstable, as you say, like through little events. I think major ones kind of make me go into like a survival mode. So I don't really fight the thing that's happened. I kind of just get on with it and put it to the back of my mind and just kind of try and forget about it.
What would you say do you find the most difficult then, or maybe like a time in your life when it was like, oh God, I can't take this?
Relationships, family, friends. I'm not very good at I can relate to other people, but I'm not very good with, my relationships are quite unstable, and people don't really understand borderline personality disorder, so I kind of find myself having to try and explain myself and explain why I feel the way I am and why I do the things I do, and sometimes I don't really know myself really. I just kind of...
So none of the partners that you've had have sort of been able to deal with that? Is that what it is? And it's like, okay. And how does that make you feel?
Well, upset, I suppose, but I kind of just get on with it because I know that I will get there and I will get better in time. Once I've learnt more about myself and a lot of other people are more aware, I know that it will get there in the end. I'll just have to try and raise awareness.
So you got a diagnosis when you were 18?
Yeah.
Okay, and what was it like actually getting the diagnosis? Was that a bit of a relief for you? Was it like, oh no, what do I do now?
Well, kind of, but I wasn't really happy with my psychiatrist that diagnosed me because he didn't really explain anything. When I was diagnosed, nobody really actually sat me down and said, this is what borderline personality disorder is. I was just given this label and that was it. I went for counselling, CBT, DBT, nothing really helped until I'm currently going through psychodynamic psychotherapy, which is kind of like the last thing they can do really, apart from a medication, which is always changing because obviously different things in life. Since I was younger, a lot has changed. I've had my son, I've got a career, so obviously all my meds had to change because I changed as a person. And obviously my borderline personality changes as well in time because I notice other things and certain things that happen in life that I really struggle with. Like certain events in life I really struggle with. I can't really deal with stress very well. I just
bring Audrey in at this point. Any comments about what Misha said so far, Audrey?
I think it's really sad that when you were given the diagnosis you weren't told anything about it. I find that a real shame because that's one of the biggest problems that can happen is, oh, here you go, here's a label and off you trot. And that's not how to help anybody. So that's really sad. And from what you say about your childhood, it's lovely to hear that you have the support of your mum, and that's really good. And having that consistency does make a huge difference. You've got a child as well, and again, I have to stress that it's so sad when you read anything about it. It's all about, oh, how borderline personality parents affect the child. Please don't think that. I've read a wonderful piece from a borderline mother who, she said she just works 10 times harder than anybody else to raise her son. And the hard part will probably be when they turn into adolescents, into teenagers, because that's when they're establishing their own independence. And of course, if you have that fear of someone leaving you as a baby, that child needs you, they will behave in that way, that's perfectly normal. And just because they are trying to express their independence and trying to just discover new things, it doesn't mean rejection, but again, that's something that's important to work through as well. But it's the sad part is there is so much doom and gloom about it. It's really important that we've got someone like you here saying, you know what, I'm doing it. The other thing that's important to remember is when we talk about borderline, we talk about splitting, we talk about it's either very good or it's very bad. And again, this mother who wrote about her son, she said, well, I love my son, I know that, and not in a borderline kind of way. And it was just refreshing to read that. So, you know, it's really great that you're here and you're talking about it, because that will be part of the whole process of getting through.
How old is your child? Is it?
He's 3.
He's 3, okay then. And tell us about that. How does that help actually, you know, you being a mother, how does that help you? And
well, when I'm at my worst, I think being with him and like it keeps me occupied. It kind of gives me another reason to carry on, and like to get myself better and make sure I don't end up like at my worst again. So it kind of gives me more motivation. Obviously, I do have days where my mum has him for the day, so that I can kind of recuperate and get my head straight. Because sometimes I just need that bit of help sometimes. Because obviously I have him on my own all the time. So, and I go to work, that's another coping strategy. I
was going to ask you about that. So you're working as well. Do you work full-time?
Part-time at the moment.
Okay.
I was full-time, but I hit a part where my sister passed away on Christmas Eve because of mental health. So I had a month and a half off, and I've just kind of gone back part-time just to kind of get myself together, really, because I didn't want to not work, because I find getting more depressed and I have more really bad days if I don't work, because I'm kind of indoors all the time and I'm not socialising, I don't see anybody, and then I get really anxious and I get worse really if I'm indoors all the time. Whereas if I go to work, it kind of keeps me busy and makes me feel like a normal person. I know I still struggle when I go to work with my anxiety and things, but
well, you push past that, manage to somehow
it gives me something. It gives me something. Since I've had, obviously, my career, I've got so much better, because I've had something to focus on. I've got my training, my coursework, and other stuff to kind of keep me busy as well.
Okay.
It kind of gives me a purpose in life as well, right? Whereas I've never really had anything that was mine. I've never really had anything that I felt I was here for. Whereas my career is so important to me that it gives me a purpose in life. So,
Misha, what would you say to other people that maybe have just been diagnosed and they're feeling really low about it and they're even thinking of giving up? What would you say to them?
You can get through it. You've just got to have the right attitude and find the strength to help you get through it, because I think it is difficult. When you first get a diagnosis, you don't really understand it. You don't understand why you're different, and you don't understand why that's happened to you, if you've had that all your life or if something's triggered it. You don't really, and you don't even know your triggers, so you have to kind of... I found comfort in, I read a lot of books. I read quite a lot, and I read books about borderline, and I watch films about borderline. I'm on like support groups on Facebook and things, so I speak to other people, and it kind of gives you a relief really, because obviously you know that you're not the only person. Whereas when you first get diagnosed, you kind of feel like you're wrong. You shouldn't have that. You shouldn't be here because you've got this diagnosis. And a lot of people, there's a lot of stigma out there about it. A lot of people put it down as like selfishness, aggression. They say you're really angry. And people also often confuse it with bipolar as well a lot. They think that you have bipolar when actually it's a completely different condition.
Must be annoying as well.
So it's a bit... I don't know.
What does it mean to you to be actually on TV now talking about it?
Well, I'd like to raise a lot of awareness, even if it saved just one person, and to kind of show people that I was at my worst. When I lived in the hostels and stuff, I did stray down the wrong paths, and I took a lot of drugs and drank and to get myself through it. And then when I had my diagnosis, obviously I stopped all of that, went to college, took my medication every day, and as long as I take my medication, I can lead a normal life. As long as I have my medication, I do have bad times, but since I've been on my medication and I've got something to focus on, I don't have as many bad times as I used to. I used to have a lot more bad times than good, but now I find I only have them like every now and then. I still have them and I'm going to have them for life, but there's a lot less now that I'm on medication and getting the help I need. And kind of.
And it's never to give up, right? Because, you know, new things come out all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't mean that, you know, you will be having your bad days. Does not necessarily, right? There's always hope. As I always tell our viewers, there's always hope for, you know, for anything that you're going through. But I really like the way that you've actually still got on with your life despite going through this, and that shows a tremendous amount of inner strength. Misha, thank you so much for being so brave, my darling, to talk about this on TV. Well done, you did a great job. Thank you, and all the best with your future.
Thank you.
And thank you, Audrey, as well.
Thank
we'll see you again next week. All right, guys, so before we head to break, let's see how the Chrissy B team got on when they visited the Hard Rock Cafe for the launch of the autistic-produced album, Building Bridges.
Okay guys, today is a special event, as you can see from my clothes. We're at the Hard Rock Cafe in Mayfair, and Julianne is here with me today. What are we here for?
Well, today, Pax, we're here to celebrate the launch of Building Bridges. It's an autism album that's been launched for the Anna Kennedy Foundation.
That's right.
And it's just to raise more awareness on autism, essentially. So yeah, we're really excited.
Shall we go have a look? Okay, ladies and gents, we're here with Anna Kennedy and Aaron York from the Anna Kennedy Online Foundation. How's it going, guys?
It's going really well. This is our very first charity album launch, and we're so excited. Aaron is the producer, he's the director, and we've been working together, how long? About 18 months?
Yeah, it's about 18. Feels longer, but yeah, 18 months. No, it's gone really well. Anna just asked me to write some songs. Well, originally, we were looking for some songwriters on the autism spectrum, but it kind of delved into finding a lot of singers, and then we found one writer, so he's on the album, and then I was fortunate enough to write the rest of the tracks, so I was buzzing. Yeah, it's gone really well. I think it's been hard because we've had to try and marry it all together, but and also it's difficult when you're working with autism. It's not easy. But we've got there. I think we're really pleased.
It's an amazing album, and I wanted to create something where the producer, the director, the singers, the photographer, everybody was on the autism spectrum, just to show what children and adults can achieve. So to show that they're not second-class citizens, that they can achieve something. So that's why we wanted a venue that was bang in the centre of London, Hard Rock Cafe. Everyone's buzzing about singing alongside iconic memorabilia, and I just want everyone to hear the album because we're so proud of it. And I'm so proud of all the singers, so we're all on the spectrum.
Lately I have seen things from my low horizon, cried until I fell down, losing my way.
I'm the senior practitioner for the charity, so all our hands-on work when it comes to autism, working out some of the problems, some of the support, some of the advice, all the bits and pieces that we have to do, it kind of comes to me, and then I'll direct everyone in what we're going to do, even to our events, how are we supporting everyone, has everything been thought of. I tend to be looking at what we're going to do next. I've got so used to us doing these things now, and it's brilliant because in the first couple of years we used to be like so hands-on and doing everything, but you look around, we've got a team now of other people on the spectrum. I have disabilities myself, and I'm able to just sit back a little bit and go, come on guys, you can do this now, and that's what makes it great.
What do you say is the future of this charity?
The future is going to be more spreading of awareness, growing the events, but just getting the word out there that people like myself and other people with disabilities, you know, we're not some strange creature that's tucked away in a corner. We're here to come and speak to, work with. We're nice people.
Yeah. I really couldn't have said it better myself.
Through these fears that I hold on.
How does a busy celebrity as yourself manage to find the time to do something as incredible as this? What inspired you to do this?
Well, I actually have a son that has autism as well. He's just turned 9 recently. When he got diagnosed, I started working with a lot of different charities and, you know, spending time away doing other things and stuff like that. I started working with Anna Kennedy because I think she saw one of my Guardian newspaper programs. She reached out to me and you know, we started having discourse. And she was just like another mother to me, you know. So she brought me in, took me under the wing, and as many events as she can possibly put on, I always come out and support. So now I'm a patron of Anna Kennedy Online's charity.
Hold on. Through all
Don't know what to say, don't know what to do. Like I'm wide awake, but I feel like I'm just sleeping through. I know no one can tell me what to do. How to let go, I only wish I knew. Still I'm gonna be a fighter, gonna be wiser, gonna be stronger than you. I'm gonna be louder, gonna be prouder. This is my time, this is my time. And you don't know what I have been through. No, 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 no. And if you want that man in my shoes. Thank you.
Amazing stuff. Well, after the break, I'll be speaking to nutritionist and fitness trainer Marc Dressen, who will be going through some of the tastiest and healthiest foods out there to make you feel good. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we are discussing everything from borderline personality disorder to autism. Now, there's an increasing amount of evidence that suggests the foods you eat affect how you feel. What if when you felt upset, your go-to food wasn't ice cream or chocolate, but in fact something nutritious and healthy? Well, we asked you which healthy foods make you feel good, and here were some of your replies. Claire Stone says, proper good quality chocolate is always a winner. And another viewer told us baked strawberries are her favorite. Very interesting. Well, here to help us go through some of the foods that make us feel good, but are also healthy, is nutritionist and fitness expert Marc Dressen. Welcome back to the show, Marc.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for coming on to educate us.
Yeah.
What do you think of baked strawberries? I've never heard of that one before.
That's a very nice one.
I might try that.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us, Marc, so why is food so important for, the way we feel?
Well, generally it fuels your body, and if you don't get the right fuel into your body, you feel tired, you feel slaggy, you feel not motivated. There's so many things linked to it, not focused. So that's why getting the right food, it's a bit like a car and fuel. So if you don't have the fuel, you don't feel right.
Okay, but why is it that so many people do turn to bad foods when they're feeling a bit stressed, a bit anxious, a bit depressed maybe?
Generally, when we talk about bad foods, it's about the food choices which are offered to us. And when we walk outside, most of the time we don't have these foods which we are having here. We go into the shop and we find the sandwich, the crisp, the stuff which seems like nice and quick, and it also gives
And
you the
cheap.
short boost. Yeah, and cheap as well.
Yeah, a lot of the time, which isn't a good thing, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay. But what does it actually do? So if someone is already feeling maybe a bit stressed and then they go and eat something that's quite bad for you, what then happens?
Well, the thing is with stress, it gives you sort of short-mindedness, short-sightedness, so your choices in terms of what is actually needed for your body is not really there, so your body gives you this sort of impulse to grab sort of the short or the not good food.
Yeah.
But advertising doesn't help nowadays because it's getting
it's
advertised, it's the nice food, it's the food to buy, it's the one which gets you motivated and so on, but it's not. So we don't see any adverts advertising a mango, right, or a banana, so yeah, we
That's
should.
very true. We should do that. So Marc, tell us about some of the foods then that we should be eating to promote wellness of mind.
Generally speaking, we want to look at foods that are sort of, for example, blueberries, and most of the ones here, they're all having antioxidants in it, because when we age, you know, antioxidation makes you feel sort of older, sluggish, and all that stuff. So, for example, blueberries or beetroot, mangoes, avocados, they have all sort of a antioxidants inside, which is nice. And in terms of, you know, feeling sluggish and getting more energy, is that they also have inflammation, anti-inflammation abilities, which is also really, really good in terms of exercising as well.
Yeah. And depending on obviously how you feel, what is best to eat when, at what time of day, or isn't there like a rule as such? You can just sort of, should you just eat fruit and veg any time of day?
There's this whole thing of meal timing, what to eat when, is less important than the actual type of what we should be eating. Because you could say, okay, I have to have my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but if the food choices you're doing or taking at breakfast, lunch, and dinner are the wrong ones, then you know, it's not the right thing to do. So it's rather than focusing, like you said, when should I be eating fruit? Generally speaking, you could do that in the morning because it kickstarts sort of your, you know, you're low on sugar because you've been using it all up while you're sleeping. So that's a good time to eat fruit, for example, or just before you exercise as well.
Just for your exercise? Okay, that's good to know. And what in your opinion, maybe your favourite feel-good foods that you would probably recommend to your clients?
Well, actually, avocado is a really, really good one. A lot of people are sort of, you know, they freaked out when they think about fat, because fat is like the bad boy nowadays, which it isn't. But avocado, everyone knows, sort of, they heard of it, it's like the superfood. And the reason why fats are good for your body is, especially the ones in avocados, is because we have vitamins which are fat soluble, and if you don't have fat, your body can't absorb them. So that's why having the right amount of fat, and especially the right fats in your body, is really, really important.
Okay, so that's your favourite then?
I love avocados.
I love them too. Actually,
you can use them inside, outside.
I'm going to make this one after the show. Marc, we've got time for a couple of viewer questions as well, if you don't mind. So this person's asking, how do I know if nutrition information that I find on the internet is reliable? What would you suggest?
Well, that's a really good question, and I think a lot of people are confused with that. First of all, because generally speaking, you can find everything on the internet. But the problem is that even if you go to, let's say, Men's Health magazine or Women's Health magazine, these are reporters who pick and choose sort of authorities on the internet and interview them and then write them an article and so on and so forth. So that might not be the best sort of go-to source, because I think there was a study showing that kids, I think 60% or something of what they search on the internet they believe is true. So the first search result they get, they click on it and say, well, the internet says it's true.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So that's
dangerous, isn't it?
That's sort of not good. Tips could be that when you actually find a source on the internet, make sure that you see who has written it. Maybe do some research on the person. Does he have a degree? Does he know what he's talking about? Other than that, you can always go to the government guidelines, you know, in terms of food. Make sure that they're on point. You know, there are various websites which are certified to do that.
And reliable. Okay, brilliant. And just one more question. This person's asking, how many servings from each food group do I need a day?
Well,
because you hear different things sometimes, don't you? It can be a bit like...
What have you heard, for example?
Well, everyone says 5 a day. You hear that's the government guideline. Then it changed to, I think, was it 7 a day? And then other people say, well, actually, it should be about 10. And as long as you have maybe, it doesn't have to be like a full portion, it can be just a little bit of each one. So then you kind of get, okay, so what should I be actually eating?
Yeah, and this is the problem with this whole thing of trying to fit everyone into one bucket, because that's just not how it works. So as a trainer, and when I see people come to me and they say, so what should I be eating? It really comes down to, what is your goal? It also really starts by, are you female or male? How old are you? What are your sort of, are you a person who's sitting all day? Are you an athlete? So that depends on which food group you should be focusing on. Generally speaking, you shouldn't put one over the other. So let's say carbohydrates, everyone is going about it and says, let's do low carb, let's all go for a paleo diet. Might not be the right thing to do. For some, yes, for some, no. So I always recommend to have a balanced diet, making sure you get your carbs, protein, and fats in as a start. And then you have people who have problems to digest, let's say, lactose intolerance, gluten, and so on and so forth. So once you get that, then you change the diet based on the person.
Okay.
But now giving advice and saying this is how you should be, dividing your food groups is really, really dangerous, I think, because it's just not going to work that way.
I suppose that's why we have the experts like you around, because you can always, if you really need to know and you want to do things right, then you have people like yourself, nutritionist, fitness expert, that you can go to and actually get a tailor-made kind of suggestion, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is important.
Brilliant. Marc, thank you so much, and we'll see you again very soon in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so now it's time to go to Hannah Richards, and she has a rather unusual suggestion for breakfast.
Hello and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. My name's Hannah, and today I'm going to help you get creative in the kitchen first thing in the morning. Now, I know most of you say, oh, I don't have time for breakfast, but I bet you all still have time for your coffee or your cereal or something like that. So I'm going to prove to you how quick and easy it is to have a really nutritious breakfast first thing in the morning. And we're going to start by taking some green. This is rocket, and rocket is a really good leaf for digestion. It helps stimulate all those digestive juices so that you break down your food a little bit better. So take something green, tear it up into the bowl, and it doesn't have to be rocket, it could be watercress, it could just be iceberg lettuce, but something green. Then take a little bit of olive oil. Got some extra virgin olive oil here, whoops. And then take some black pepper and sea salt. Now, I'm gonna add a herb in. You can add any herb you like. But I've got some nice parsley here. So again, I'm just going to tear a bit of that in, because parsley and fish go quite well together. And that's our next ingredient. So give that a mix with your hands. I'm going to throw in a few blueberries as well. Blueberries are really high in antioxidants, and they give a little sweetness to the dish as well. So once you've mixed your rocket and blueberries and parsley together, we're going to take some wonderfully holy sourdough. Sourdough is one of my favourite breads, and I would really advise to get it from a local bakery. So this one is freshly baked this morning, and just again, be really careful of those fingers. Sourdough breads tend to be a lot longer, especially than rye breads, and so you've got to make sure it's nice and even. You've got a really good sharp knife so you don't break it in the process. There we go. So then take your mackerel, and a mackerel is really high in omega-3s, and just smash it up into the rocket and the blueberries. Bitter and sweet flavours infusing through. Don't be scared to get your hands all dirty. Give them a little wipe off. Sourdough is quite soft, so if you choose not to toast it, you don't have to. I'm just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the top again. And then I'm just going to cover it with our delicious essential fatty acid topping. So this is going to keep you satisfied in the office. It's going to regulate your blood sugar levels, so you don't need that latte and chocolate croissant at 11 o'clock. It's going to keep you all the way through to lunchtime, ready for the session in the gym.
thanks very much to Hannah. And after the break, I'll be hearing from Joanne Costa-Manuel, founder of our Good Cause of the Week, Autism Parent Empower, and I'll be giving you my top tips on how you can look after your mental health. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, the TV program that looks after your mental health, well-being and success. Now, as you know, we love to feature good causes on the program, and they can be individuals, organisations or charities that are doing amazing things for others. This week, we're delighted to be joined by Joanne Costa-Manuel, founder of Autism Parent Empower, onto the show. Hello, Joanne.
Hi, Chrissy.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I have to say, we have had you on before, but it was a while back.
Yes.
And you have achieved quite a lot more since you've been on. But for the benefit of the new viewers that we have, can you tell us a little bit about your journey with your son?
Yeah, I guess I started up Autism Parent Empower really after my own journey. My son was diagnosed at 2. It was very bleak, very dark, was finding my way through this dark maze, and it was really, really tough. But there came a turning point when I thought, do you know what? I can't recognise myself anymore, and I'm no good to my son, to my husband or my other daughter, and I need to change things around. And I sort of got this inner strength, and it started helping me just sort of break down barriers and get the things that I wanted. And my son is doing exceptionally well then.
Yeah.
And it's because he's had really good intervention, but I think it's because he's had a driving force behind him. So what I wanted to do with regards to Autism Parent Empower is create something which gave access to parents for these interventions, but also add a third element, which is the empowerment, which is how to feel good, how to feel confident, how to have that self-esteem so you can knock down those doors and you can survive this journey without feeling a victim. And I guess because it does do that to you, it makes you feel pretty bad about yourself at the beginning, and we want them to feel really good because we really respect them. I mean, some of the things that our parents have to go through fighting for their children is unbelievable. So yeah, that's basically why I set it up.
Okay. And just to go back to when you said that you felt bad and other parents feel bad, what is it that they feel bad about? Because obviously it's a condition that the child is born with. So what is it that the parent feels guilty about? Or
I think because you can't tell when they're born, you spend the first maybe 18 months, you know, nurturing them and bringing them up and having all these hopes and dreams for them. And often they're basic, you know, I can't wait till they grow up, till they drive, till they have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And when you get that diagnosis of autism, you're often told what that might mean, and that might mean that they actually never come out of nappies, might never speak, might never do the basic things that actually you'd hope that your little baby would one day have. And that puts you into this sort of state of grief for a long time. And there is research to show that mums and dads often are on different paths, and if they stick together they do join back up in the middle, but at the beginning, you know, mum's on a different, it's a huge strain. And then you hear about interventions and they cost the earth, and you think, how am I going to afford this? And, you know, it's just lots and lots of pressure. So I have felt it, but I know that there is a way out and there is a light.
Well, you look very positive about everything. So tell us a bit more about what Autism Parent Empower does and how it helps parents.
Yeah, so we met you at the launch. You came to the launch, which was brilliant. That was a year ago. And oh my gosh, Chrissy, it has been phenomenal. The year, we've just been blown over. So we've done some really good autism campaigns throughout the UK, and they've sort of been the first of the kind that's been done. So we looked at things like, okay, we know that parents are finding really difficult to go shopping. So I went and approached a supermarket and said, right, how can we change this and how can we roll this out nationwide so parents can start to shop with their child but feel accepted and feel supported. Worked with airlines to try and do the same thing for holidays and for, you know, travelling.
Oh, you have been busy, haven't you? I knew about the supermarket one because I watched your Facebook video, but I didn't know about the other things.
Yeah, so we've just, and we did it for Santa Grottos, which again rolled out nationwide. So I think having that spin on being positive about this is something that everyone's sort of drawn to and helping us do. But the actual programmes where we work with parents, I mean, when we met you last year, we had 12 parents that signed up and sort of were following us. We now have just over 20,000.
Kidding me.
And where that's a really phenomenal number, there is actually sadness in that, because the amount of numbers, and this is global, that we have parents contacting us daily saying, please can you help us? They're from Kenya, from India, from America, from Germany, and you think it's the global feeling that we all want help, and I think they're all reaching out for that positiveness. So
well, you're going to have a lot of work to do, aren't you?
Yes. Yes,
but you
yes,
did
yes.
amazingly well.
Thank you.
And tell us about the London Eye. What did you do with that?
Yeah, so every year, famous landmarks around the world light up blue for Autism Awareness Month. So this year, I was invited to turn it on for the London Eye, which was a huge privilege. But we did have a lot of autistic adults actually contact us to say that for various reasons, blue was actually a colour that offended them, and what it stood for offended them. Oh. And I think this happens globally. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to be the first person to change it. So I listened to what they said, and I understood it. So the London Eye and I worked together, and we actually lit it up pink for our national autistic charity.
Amazing.
And I think it just created some change. So for the first time, actually, we listened to what people said and thought, great, this would be a great publicity thing, and we'd have lots of people, you know, we'd be part of a global event. Yeah. What's more important is that our children that we are bringing up today, they're going to grow up and have voices, and those voices need to be heard. There's no point in me doing things on behalf of people with autism if actually what they're telling us is being ignored. So I think it was really significant landmark this year.
Should we take a look at it? We've actually got a video of that that you provided for us. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone, Joanne here from Autism Parent Empower, and I'm so excited because I'm standing outside the London Eye where we are about to turn it on to light up London and spread some autism awareness. Now, as many of you know, I'm from Autism Parent Empower. We train parents and we give them skills with ABA, nutrition and empowerment. But today isn't about me, it isn't about Autism Parent Empower and what we do. It isn't about any particular charity or group. This really is representing every parent, family, child, adult living with autism in the UK. We know what a great job that you do, you know, and so today we're lighting up London for you. So I'm so excited. So I'm going to just take you over. So we've got a big button that we're going to press, and we've got some very, very special people helping us with that today. So, come over. We have got Ella, and we've got Kyla, and we've got Jaden, and we've got Cruzy, and we've got Sam. And did you want to come in, darling? Want to go in? Yeah? Nathaniel. And we've got Nathaniel. So, we're all going to gather round, yeah? And we're going to give it a big countdown starting from 10, alright? You ready? Yeah. Right, we're all ready to light up London? Spread some autism awareness? Yeah. Right, good. Let's go. Light. Ready? Mums and dads, you ready? We're ready. Ready. Right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Well, you did it, Joanne. It lit up pink, which was amazing.
Yeah, and it was lovely to have the
as well.
children there as well.
Oh, it was lovely.
Yeah.
So what's the future for the organisation, would you say?
I think we've been putting a lot of work in the last couple of months into how do we reach people in Kenya and America and Germany. And at first I kind of giggled and thought, oh gosh, if only. And there is a way. So actually we're taking our 12-week programme now, and we've put together online programmes so that, I mean, we've had people from parts of Africa saying, you know, we can't reach a paediatrician, we can't reach the people we need. But it's made me think, but do you know what? You've got a phone or you've got a tablet because you've contacted me, and so actually if we put a course together and actually put some of the best nutritionists and behaviour consultants and empowerment coaches and deliver it to you, actually you could be sitting in Kenya not able to reach anyone else, but you can have access to some of the, you know, world's best experts.
Wow.
So I'm so excited about doing that.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be phenomenal,
good.
So I can't wait.
Wow. Well, all the best with everything, and please keep in touch because we'd love to have you back on to tell us the progress.
I will.
Because I'm sure there's going to be loads more coming.
Yeah, I think so. I'm quite busy. Thank you so much for having me again.
No problem at all. It's our pleasure. Thank you. Right, guys, so now it's time for me to talk about my own tips on how to look after your mental health. Okay, everyone, so let's go through my tips. The first one is, of course, to be healthy. So as you know, exercise helps you concentrate better, helps you sleep better, and helps you feel and even look better, but it's also really good for your brain. And as we hear from our nutritionist every week, what you eat also affects your mind and how you feel about yourself. My second point is to be open. So do talk about your feelings. It's better to express yourself rather than keeping everything locked inside. So if you're not able to come to find solutions to things on your own, then do ask for help. There's no shame in that. And if maybe you're a naturally closed up person, this is easier said than done, of course. So start off gradually by sharing maybe small things with someone that's perhaps close to you, and get yourself into the habit of, saying little things about yourself and opening up bit by bit. My third point is, don't be an island. So some people naturally like their own company, and I'm actually one of those people. I'll happily go walking on my own, train on my own, go to the park on my own. But there is a danger with that, because we all need to be around people too. So we weren't born to be alone. We're social beings. So of course, have your me time, but also make time to be with others, even if it's just maybe a phone call to talk to someone. And when there's a balance, it is really good for you. And my fourth point is, do something you enjoy. And I know you're probably saying, yeah, Chrissy, I've heard that one before. But seriously, let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually did something for you? Did something that you enjoy instead of running around after everyone else? So of course, caring for others is a wonderful thing, and it's actually great for your mental health. But what about you? Has it been ages? Why not schedule that thing in once a week, something that you enjoy? That could make such a positive difference to your mental health. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have anything that you'd like to share on this program, also if maybe you have comments about the show that you would like to share with us, we do love to hear from our viewers, then do email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And don't forget, if you want to know more about me, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com, where I tell my full story of how I overcame all the mental health issues that I used to have in the past. Bye-bye for now.
Yeah, it was really good. I'm quite glad to raise awareness and kind of put my story out there and kind of help make other people aware, and just show people that you can get through it and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It doesn't have to be all doom and gloom.
Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV program for all things related to mental health, well-being and success. So far today, we've been learning about... Really? Claire Stone says, proper good quality chocolate is always a winner. And